In the previous class of industrial relation and labor laws, we have discussed till the stage 4 of the evolution of the industrial relation or labor laws in India. Now, today we'll be discussing what was the condition after independence. Independence and partition of the country smashed the hope of the workers for getting higher wages and better working conditions from the national government. Why? See, as there was an independence, but with this independence, there was also a partition. That is, India was divided into India as well as Pakistan. And due to this, there was a huge violence, and the government was in tremendous trouble. Due to this, the laborers were even not able to get what was the amount that they were receiving in British era. Therefore, in order to get that minimum amount, they were at strikes or they came on the roads for the right of wages that they were earning. The number of strikes and many days lost were the highest ever recorded in the country. Various political parties formed and kept control over various trade unions. That means the politics entered into the trade unions, and this trade union was completely captured by the political parties, and this was also a reason that still now the labor union as well as trade unions are suffering. In 1948, Praja Socialist Party started another trade union known as Hindu Mazdoor Panchayat. Indian Federation of Labour and Hindu Mazdoor Panchayat were amalgamated and formed Hindu Mazdoor Sabha in 1948. Planned economic development and emphasis on trade union. That means, see, after independence, they gave emphasis for the trade unions. In the first planning commission or first 5-year plan, the India concentrated mainly on industrialization and agriculture because these both were very lagging behind in India. Therefore, in order to increase the income for India, they mainly concentrated on industrialization and agriculture, as this will bring most of the people from the poverty. Industrial as well as agriculture to be achieved during the next 5 years, that is first 5-year plan. For having industrial advancement, industrial policy resolution in 1948 was also prepared. As the economic progress is bound up with the industrial pace, so for the successful implementation of the plans, particularly in the economy organized and planned production and distribution, and aiming at the realization of social justice and the welfare of the masses, the cooperation from the trade unions was considered absolutely essential at different stages of the execution of the plans. That means, in order to run smoothly, the necessity of industrial relation as well as labor relation is very important, and this can be possible by only on the table conversation. To happen this, there was a more emphasis on the trade unions. Therefore, trade union was considered absolutely essential at different stages. Accordingly, it was realized that the question of maintenance of smooth industrial relation was not a matter between employers and employee alone, it was also between the concern of community. Therefore, the first 5-year plan also decided that the dignity of labor must be recognized. This can be a direct question asked in the examinations, that in which 5-year plan the dignity of the labor must be recognized was considered. It was in the first 5-year plan of the India. Accordingly, the workers' right to association, organization and collective bargaining was accepted. In first 5-year plan itself, the workers' right to association, organization and collective bargaining was accepted, and it was laid down in the plan that the trade union should be welcomed and helped to function as a part and parcel of the industrial system. That means the trade union was legally accepted in first 5-year plan. See, as we discussed in the previous class, that V.V. Giri had a very important role in order to build this industrial relation in India. In the same way, he also came up with the Code of Discipline of 1962. It also mentions some of the guidelines and what are the measures that should be taken so that in future there should not be any conflict between the boss, that is employer and employee labors. See, it was brought out from 24th August 1969 to 24th August 1974. That means he was president. V.V. Giri was president at the time, and in 1962 he has brought the Code of Discipline for Industries. What are the principles of Code of Disciplines? One is there should not be strike or lockout without prior notice. That means, in order, if at all you are going to strike out or for lockout, then you should provide a notice to the employer so that he can be well prepared. This is the first principle. The second is no unilateral action should be taken in connection with any industrial matter. That means unilaterally anything should not be taken. It should be taken in consultation with all the management and with labor or trade unions. Third, there should be no resource to go slow tactics. No deliberate damage should be caused to the plant or property. That means intentionally you should not cause any property damage. Acts of violence, intimidation, coercion, or instigation should not be restored to. That means violation should not be carried on. The existing machinery for settlement of dispute should be utilized. Awards and agreements should be speedily implemented. That means if the government implements any of the law or legislation for the welfare of the labor, then the employer, that is the organization, should implement it in the organization speedily. Any action which disturbs cordial industrial relations should be avoided. That means any of the action that will lower the dignity of the labor or it will bring the conflict between the employer and employee, then it should be avoided. These are the some of the 8 principles. You should remember these because they can ask an examination and they may give some of the 3 options correctly and you should eliminate the other one. Next, the first National Commission, it was established in 1966 and the main chairmanship it was by Justice P.B. Gajendra Gadkar. You should remember this name. Okay, the first National Commission on Labor, it was established in 1966 and it was headed by Justice P.B. Gajendra Gadkar. It was on December 24, 1966, but the commission submitted its report on August 1969. That means nearly after 3 years it has submitted its report. After detailed examination of all aspects of labor problems, both in the organized as well as unorganized sectors, the first National Commission on Labor recommended that works committee be set up in any unit which has recognized union. That means in any of the organization, if there is a recognized union, then the work committee must be set up. This was the recommendation by the first National Labor Commission or first National Commission on Labor. Next, the 5th stage is the present. That is what we are living today, or it is the gap of 30 years or 3 decades. Second National Labour Commission was appointed. It was in October 15, 1999 under the chairmanship of Ravindra Verma. Okay. The previous one was Gajendra Gadkar and this one, that is Second National Commission on Labour, was Ravindra Verma, which submitted its report to then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Do remember, the Second National Labour Commission was appointed under the Prime Ministership of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and the report was submitted in 2002. What was the need for Second Labour Commission? What was the need? See, during the period of 3 decades since setting up of first National Commission, that is from 1966 till 1999, it is nearly 3 decades. During this period, there has been an increase in number of labor force because of the pace of industrialization, urbanization. Why? See, in 1991, 1992, okay, 1991 and 1992, there was LPG reforms in India, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization in India. Due to this, many of the FDIs were welcomed into India and many of the factories were set up, due to which there was huge workforce that was fetched into organized as well as unorganized sector, and this led to the huge labor force. Due to this, there was a need for the Second National Commission. Then after the implementation of new economic policy in 1991, that is LPG, liberalization, privatization and globalization, changes have taken place in the economic environment of the country, which have in turn brought about radical changes in the domestic industrial climate and labor market. Then what was the third need? Changes have occurred at the workplaces, changes in the industry and character of the employment, changes in hours to work and overall change in the scenario of the industrial relations. These changes have resulted in certain uncertainties in the labor market, requiring a new look to the labor laws. That means overall, more of the industries were developed in India, more of the persons got into the workforce or they were into the labor force. Due to this, there was a huge demand for the organized sector, and there was a conflict between the labor's employer and employee. In order to handle or tackle this and also to bring the welfare for the society as well as laborers, there was a need for the second labor commission, and therefore it was appointed in 1999, okay, under Ravindra Verma commission chairman. Now, in 2002, the second National Labour Commission or Commission on Labour submitted its report. What were the recommendations? It recommended that existing labour laws should be broadly grouped into 4 or 5 labour codes on functional basis by simplifying, amalgamating, and rationalizing the relevant provisions of the existing 44 central labour laws. That means at present in India, for each and every organization, there are 44 labour laws that to be applied. And do remember, or do just imagine that it is not possible to apply all these 44 laws into an organization, and therefore it will lead to the corruption, right? Now, what did second labor commission or National Commission on Labor said? It said that do combine all these 44 laws and make a rational law with, that is, 4 to 5, only 4 to 5 labor laws should be made. This was the first recommendation of the second National Labor Commission. Accordingly, the ministry has taken steps for drafting 4 labor codes. See, it is just a draft, it is still not an act, and there are only 4 labor codes it has drafted. One is Labor Code on Wages. What is it says? Code on Wages will subsume legislations like the Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Wages Act, the Payment of Bonus Act, Equal Remuneration Act. It aims to provide a national floor for the minimum wage. It also has provisions to consider regional variations like geography, economy, etc. That means in the first provisions or in the first labor code, what the ministry has decided, labor codes on wages, it will also consider the variations like geography as well as economy. Next, the second code is Labor Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions. Code on Industrial Safety Welfare will replace legislations like Factories Act, Mines Act and Dock Workers, that is Safety, Health and Welfare, etc. This will put in place a uniform regime across the nation to ensure industrial safety. That means this code will put a single code, the single law all over India that will be applicable all over India, so that there will be safety for each and every worker who is working in all these sections. Then the third labor code is Labor Code on Industrial Relations. The Labor Code on Industrial Relation will combine the Trade Unions Act of 1926, the Industrial Employment Standing Orders Act of 1946 and the Industrial Dispute Act of 1947. The focus here is to set the stage for the way labor unions can protect labor interest. What does it mean? See, the major step is that the labor unions, whatever are there, it is provided with such a powers that this will protect the rights of the laborers. It also seeks to abolish deadlocks and promote worker welfare while promoting the investment. Then the fourth code is Labor Code on Social Security. Code on Social Security will merge important legislations like Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provisions Fund, Employees State Insurance Corporations Act, Maternity Benefit Act, Building and Other Construction Workers Act and the Employees Compensation Act. That means all these acts will be amalgamated into a single code, that is Labor Code on Social Security. If you want to know each and every act in details, that is EPFO Act, ESI Act, Maternity Benefit Act, we have all covered this acts in detail, and we have provided each and every lecturer in the playlist of Social Security. If you want, you can watch it from the playlist of our YouTube channel. And if you want to read the PDF, you can join the Telegram channel. You will find the link in the descriptions. The Labor Code on Wages was approved by the Parliament in August, while the Labor Code on Occupation Safety, Health, Working Conditions have been referred to the Standing Committee on Labour. That means till now only one code is approved, that is Labor Code on Wages, whereas Labor Code on Occupational Safety, Health and Working Conditions have been referred to Standing Committee, but it is not passed. You just need to remember which has been passed, that is Labor Code on Wages. Now, we need to understand what are the problems that are being faced by the labor movement post independence. Uneven growth, that is, like in agriculture it has not grown so much, but in services sector in the previous 2 to 3 decades it has grown tremendously. This is nothing but uneven growth. Then low membership, although there are trade unions, but the labor has not been joining this. Okay, although there are labor unions, but labor is not being joining this. Therefore, there are many low memberships, weak financial positions, political leadership. As we discussed that labor unions were occupied by political leaders, and due to this they promoted only politics from this. Therefore, there is a political leadership in this. Then multiplicity of unions, that means there are huge number of trade unions. Bargaining power is diluted, and it is easy for employers to divert the attention of the labor. Inter-union rivalry, that means within a union one labor is fighting against the different labor, right? This will lead to a conflict between the labors itself. Then the problem of recognitions, employers are under no obligation to give them recognitions. This means that unions get recognitions and genuine ones may be sidelined. That means who have the major issue will be sidelined, whereas the unions will get the recognitions. Diverse nature of labor, okay, due to this also there is a problem. Lack of public support, especially post 1991, trade unions is looked down as an implemented to growth and development impediment. That means downward, it will bring downward the growth. This had led to the general ebbing of the movement across the country. Now, what are the major labor unions and their political affiliation? All India Trade Union Congress by Communist Party of India, Indian National Trade Union Congress by Indian National Congress, Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh by Bharatiya Janata Party, Center for Indian Trade Unions CPI-M, Hindi Mazdoor Sabha, that is by Swarajwadi Party, Self-Employment Women's Association, it is unaffiliated, United India Trade Union Congress, it is Revolutionary Social Party. So we have completed this class. If you have any query, you can comment it. And if you are new to the channel, please do watch all the previous videos. Thanks for watching the video. And if you want to get notification, do subscribe and press the bell icons. If you like the content, please do share with your friends. If you want to read the PDF, do join the Telegram channel. We will provide the link in the description. Thanks for watching the video. Stay tuned.